I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. In this season of the Get Your New View podcast, we will be talking with you all about training. In this episode, we're going to talk about the science of adult learning. One of my favorite facts about learning is related to the Ebbinghaus Forgetting Curve. That's Ebbinghaus. The Ebbinghaus Forgetting Curve, briefly, will point out that adult learners within the first 20 minutes only retain about 50% of what they've learned. By the time they get a day past what they learned, that number is less than 30% retained, and by the time they move a month or more down the road, they have only retained 20% or less of the information that they learned in any type of training. This is a significant challenge with adults who are trying to learn new things, and there are ways that we can combat this to help retain that information. Adult learners are incredibly challenged in that they're very distracted. They've got a lot going on. If we think about the training that you have received related to your job in the past, you probably had to take time out of your regular schedule to obtain that training and still had to make sure to tend to emails and maybe business at night while you were attending that training. So distractions, completely valid distractions, things that are needed for you to do your regular job are definitely one of the challenges. One of the other challenges is that adult learners are simply out of practice. It's been a while since we've been in school. So it takes a while to get back into the routine of learning. And as we all know, attention spans get shorter and shorter. We've got a lot of competing priorities looking for our attention. So paying attention to a class, especially a longer class, is more and more difficult. Think too about all of the different types of learning styles we have out there. Some people are auditory learners, where if they hear something, they can learn it. Some people are visual. If they see it, they can learn it. Some people actually have to be hands-on. They have to do the task in order to learn it. If you think about a lot of the training that people engage in now, especially corporate training with professional companies, a lot of the expectation that we place in front of our employees is that they will learn a whole lot of information from videos, and maybe even watching not just a few videos, but hours and hours of videos. Because of adult learners' level of distraction, the fact that they're out of practice, their attention spans, and the differences in learning styles, it is almost impossible for people to learn from a whole bunch of videos. So think about that as you think about the kind of training that you've engaged in yourself. When's the last time that you watched a video and retained more than 20% of the information that you learned from that video? That same thing is happening with your team at your company where they're engaging in that kind of training. My viewpoint about training is that the whole point of training is to bring lasting benefits back to the company. Why would you even send people for training if you didn't think that something was going to get better as a result of what they learned? So I want to talk with you a little bit about some of the things that we do at New View Strategies to help with this. When we plan training, whether it's group training, custom training, maybe for just employees of your company, virtual training, we are always planning for 50% of the time of the class to be spent on hands-on exercises. This means that every single student has a learning environment where they can try whatever they need to try on their own and that they have some guidance about what to try. So if we spend 15 minutes on lecture, we're going to spend 15 minutes on hands-on exercises to apply the principles of what we learned to some task that would be like a task that they would be performing as part of their normal job. This means that the students get a chance to see, hear, and do, covering quite a few of the different learning styles, and it keeps things broken up into short segments to allow for shorter attention spans and to allow people to engage in repetition because they're trying hands-on exercises many times throughout the course of a class. Repetition is incredibly important for people to commit things to memory. Every time we say something more than once, we increase the chances of that particular piece of information being retained. So you'll find that in our instruction, we often repeat things so that we can help people to apply those. Another way that we help with adult learners and retention is we play games and we compete. Now, this might feel kind of silly to you, but you'd be surprised at how competitive a group of adults can get when they're taking quizzes and there are prizes at stake. I love to give out a good gold star, and I've got lots of different types. We have little pins, ribbons, trophies, stress balls, all of them that are gold stars. And I always have to smile because we give out these prizes for the quiz winners, and I've gone back to companies years later to visit them and still find these trophies proudly displayed on people's desks from when they've attended our training. But the point of that quiz, while it is fun to have fun, is for them to get a chance to repeat. So at the beginning of whatever the next period of learning is, if we have a quiz where people have to recall what they learned the day before, or maybe even just before lunch, they're going to have a better shot of retaining that information because they got a chance to repeat it in a different way while including some fun. You'll definitely find, if you take a class with us, that we assign homework. Homework is just another chance to repeat what we've learned, for you to reflect on how that applies to your own situation, and then for you to be able to look back on that as a resource. One of the things that I say about our training is that we absolutely want to make our learning something that you can use on day one. So what does that mean? That means that when you take a class with us, the very next day that you go back to your office, you should be able to enact what you've learned into an improvement in your job. One way that we can facilitate this is at the end of every class. We have a takeaway exercise where we talk with all the students in the class and we ask them to list out the top 3 things that they've learned in the class that day. And it's such a fantastic exercise because it's a great summary of the day, but all of the students learn from each other what things were valuable, and they always find commonalities of the things that everybody has learned that they found useful. So think about how, if you're going to engage in training, you can bring those benefits back to the company. Your action item for today is to think about how, once you have attended some training, you can exercise what you've learned as quickly after the training as possible, and how you make this a habit each time you learn something new. Our next episode is going to be about how you can have your team apply what they learn in training right away. We'll give you some ideas. I'm Carrie Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your New View podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you. Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.